Hello and welcome to DCD, and behind me we have the latest conversion to now leave the workshop for transit van, and this is why you should consider one. So the Ford Transit, what are we doing with one of these for a company that calls itself DCD Transporters? So Volkswagens are obviously our passion and our primary vehicle, but you cannot ignore these. The Transit outsells the Transporter 3-1. So for every one Volkswagen Transporter that's sold, Ford have sold 3 Transit vans, and that's just in the UK. And that continues today. So they are one of, if not the most popular van in the UK. They're great value, they're a really square space, and we think they make a really cracking camper van. So this is a 2018 Transit in a really lovely spec. So we've got things like cruise control, we've got LED lights, we've got DAB radio, we've got nice seats on the inside, you know, electric windows, electric mirrors, heated mirrors. It's a really, really lovely van. So whoever got this from the factory has spec'd it pretty well. It's also quite unusual in the fact that it's got twin sliding doors. So for whatever particular purpose this van was spec'd for, we've now got those 2 doors, and they do actually make a really good camper van. So by having that door on the driver's side does mean we can access the cupboard and get to bits perhaps slightly easier than what we would do is if that door wasn't there. So, you know, it does give us a few little quirks that we have to work around, but I think having that sliding door shouldn't put you off. So if you are looking at a van and it has got twin sliders and you think, oh no, that's not going to make a great camper van, I think you're wrong. It will make a good camper van. You just got to think about the furniture slightly differently, and then of course, you know, it's going to lend itself to actually being that little bit more practical. So what you've all been waiting for, let's take a look on the inside of this great looking van. So let's just have a little walk through what we've got in here. So main kitchen cabinet with the Dometic sink there and tap, and then you've got a drawer to the right hand side, which is really quite deep and spacious, really nice. And then we've got the Dometic NRX 50 fridge, which is their new fridge. Been out about a year or so now. Really lovely fridge, just a redesign of the CRX 50, and the CRX 50 was pretty much the staple of all fridges, wasn't it? Like a really good quality Dometic fridge, as you'd expect. So we've got LED light in there, which is motion sensitive, and then you've got obviously the various controls. This one's got eco mode as well, so that's quite nice. Next to the fridge is the large cupboard. Obviously within the large cupboard houses our water tank and pump sitting in there, separated from the rest of the cupboard area. Now you can access this cupboard from either this side or the other side through the driver's sliding door. Night heater outlet and night heater mounted inside the van. Pump is outside, but we've got the night heater in here, so it's nice and safe, away from any water, anything like that. The Transit doesn't get all the splash guards underneath the van like what the Transporter does, so we like to mount the heater internally. That just works really well for us, and there's a nice space down the front of the kitchen there to do that. Then underneath the driver's seat is all the electronics. We've got a lithium battery in there, which is 105 amp hour with all Bluetooth control, self-heating, and its own battery management system inbuilt. So that's really nice. That, coupled with the solar panel that's on the roof, is going to give you plenty of off-grid capability for all your 12 volt on there. Then above that kitchen cabinet is our main top cabinet, which has got the night heater control and thermostat sitting there. And if you note, the worktop is walnut. Doesn't it look fantastic? Walnut is a really lovely warm wood, gives a really nice feel, feels super smooth, really lovely, and there's a nice dark wood as well on there, so obviously with the table to match. And then we've coordinated the floor, so this is a walnut floor with honey strips in there, and yeah, that just looks really lovely. Buddy box sitting at the back there, and that is our 360 table, which we'll show you again later. And then the bed and seating area, which is really spacious. So the cushions are slightly wider on the Transit than what you get on the Transporter, so that makes a nice helpful bit of extra space. So let's just have a closer look at the top cabinet. So the top cabinet houses the night heater controller. So this is a auto-term comfort controller with the thermostat built in up there, and then we've got two really generous sized cupboards. We've got, tucked around the corner, hidden light control. So we've got the worktop that can be illuminated, or as that's quite a bright light, you can separate that, so it's completely separate to the rest of the lighting system in the van. So the blinds that we're using in the van are van shades blinds, and they're their new system. So they've got the new X-Rail on there, which I think is just a little bit easier to use than what the tab was. The tab, you had to always make sure you kept it sort of 90 degrees and you didn't twist that. If you did twist it, then it would make it a little bit more difficult to shut. So these new ones, just on this little X-Rail here, so you can pull down on that and then you can push up. So it makes it a lot easier, and it's very neat because you ain't got that little tab sticking out either. So yeah, we really like these. So shout out to the guys from Van Shades. They are a cracking set of blinds, and they make them for the Transit and for the Transporter, and they are blackout, thermal, and just really nice, aren't they? So much better than curtains. This is the way forwards. So coming around to the front of the van, you can see the double seat has got a swivel mechanism on it. That's really nice. So it does open up the space in the van. We are working with the manufacturer of our quick release swivels to bring out one for the Transit. Hopefully that's going to be out later this year. So that'll be a bit of a game changer because those quick release swivels are so much better. But in the meantime, obviously it's still nice to get this seat swiveled round, even if it is on the traditional sort of locking mechanism as we've always had. But I don't know if you're aware, but one of the biggest manufacturers of the seat swivels actually pulled out of doing the Transit vans. They didn't want to continue with the development of the Transit swivel because they said it was too difficult and it just didn't work for them. So getting our quick release swivel into a Transits is going to be an absolute game changer. So I think that's going to be one to really look forward to, and that's going to be hopefully, like I said, later this year. But yeah, so coming around, see there's strip lighting underneath the top cabinet and then lighting around the rest of the van, and that's all on a dimmer. So we've got dimmable lights around here, and then the top cabinet is on its own separate switch. On the worktop itself is the electric output for the 240 volt and a USB-C and A charger there. Fan shades blinds, a really nice midnight colour to match the laminate that we've used on here. And then we've got the pop top bed sitting at the top, as you can see, with the cover panel, and I'll show you that when it's all put down and yeah, tucked away, and how neat that makes it. We've also continued that carpeting into the front section as well, just to give it a nice seamless look. So yeah, that's all carpeted around there. Makes that nice and cozy as well. So does make that a little bit better than some of the headliners you get on the Transits can go a little bit grubby. So it's nice to give that a refresh as well. So that's been done. As you can see, the pop top's nice and airy. Plenty of light coming through there. The two side panels are mosquito style nets, and they do allow a bit of ventilation, and the front window is a sort of perspex style window, a vinyl window that you can then see through. But it's the two sides that give you the ventilation if you do want up there, and you can see the zip running through that, and that's going to open that all up. So you've got a safari style scenic canvas looking its way around there. Doesn't that look fantastic? So what I shall do is go round and now turn it into the bed so you can see how big that space is. So now we've got the van set up for overnight use, and that bed is massive. Let's go and take a look at it from the other way. It's 1.65 meters wide by a usable space of 1.8 meters long. So that gives you a just under 6 foot long bed in a short wheelbase van by a maximum width of 5'4". So that's a decent sized bed. So yes, we do have to take the corner of the bed, you know, just to make sure we've still got a decent kitchen cabinet in there with plenty of space. Obviously the water tank sitting there, your drawers in there, so you don't want to lose that. So I think that's a really good compromise because most of us won't sleep dead straight anyway. So yeah, we can sleep around that cupboard with ease, and it's going to give you, like I said, a maximum width across the end of the van of 5'4". So that's going to enable you to get lots of shoulder space and spread out there quite well. So that's a really nice cozy bed for two, or a massive bed if you're just out on your own. And yeah, what a super space that is. And you can see that combined with the pop top being elevated there, that's a big space. And the bonus with the Transit is it does stay very square going up the sides of the van, and it doesn't taper in much, so you do get a really lovely square space. So back into day mode, the most flexible thing I think about our U-shape is that removable buddy box, and how that extra bit of storage space, you can, if you don't need it, leave that behind, pop it in the awning, or just move it outside during the day, and it's going to give you that lovely load through area, another access point into the van without having to go through the side doors. So let me take that out now and you can have a look at what I mean. So what a great little party trick that is. So now you've got load through space, and a really big load through space at that. So you're going to be able to take, you know, fishing rods, mountain bikes, kayaks, canoes, all that kind of thing that you may have not been able to get very easily into your traditional style camper, your rock and roll bed, or the very first sort of U-shaped styles that there were, you know, with that solid bench across the back there. Without having that there, you've just opened up the van. Not only, like I said, for nice access to get in and out of the van, you've got plenty of storage, and you've got plenty of opportunity to then turn the van into actually using it as a van for other things. So it's not just that I can only do one thing, I'm just a camper van. No, you've now got a very usable van indeed. So our little buddy box, completely standalone, so you can use it with the cushion outside as another seat, or you can leave it behind. Like I said, the U-shape and the side pods still work with or without the buddy box, but obviously having that buddy box with you does give you that extra bit of storage space as well. So this is the inside of our little buddy box, and as you can see, it is a lovely square space for hiding lots of bits and bobs away. Good for muddy boots, just packing wet gear in there if you needed to, and just makes a really handy storage cube. And it locates into the back of the van in a way that's secure, so you can drive around with it and it won't be moving and it won't be sliding about. So it's a very good little storage system, like I said, that's completely removable, so you can have access to that bit of the van if you need, or a super bit of extra storage. So as you may be aware with our builds, particularly on the U-shape, we really like the outdoor cooking. At the end of the day, that is why we've all come out to go camping, not to be inside. We've all gone outdoors. So why do we want to cook in the van? Simple answer, we don't. So we don't get any smells, we don't get any grease or any other food residue in the van by moving the cooker into a drawer. So that all slides out and the cooker is all secured in there, and we can use it while still having everything with us, but we've got it all secured away. So let's move the drawer out and we'll have a look at that. So this is the cooker setup. So as you can see, we've got enough space for a Cadak cooker, nice twin burner that you can get on there. So something from either Cadak or camping gas. There's quite a few other manufacturers that do some really nice twin cooker setups that will fit into that space. Then we've got a drawer below that with the chopping board. This is a chopping board in walnut, and that sits nice and neat in there, secured out of the way. And then to the right hand side, we've got access into the cupboard, which is going to house your gas canisters and all your other bits and bobs, so utensils and bits and, you know, cooking equipment and everything that's going to go alongside your kitchen as normal. So you can see on the worktops itself, we've got a brushed steel look to the top, so they're really nice and easy to clean. Wipe down surface that's very hygienic as well, so that's really lovely. And you couple this on a barn door setup with a little canopy going across the top there, or if you've got a tailgate, then yeah, you're quite sheltered in there. And we've not found any points really where we couldn't use this setup. You don't have to pull the drawer out to its full extreme, so if you don't want to have the cooker sitting beyond the barn doors, you don't have to, so you're going to get them as a bit of a windbreaker. Don't forget, when you lift the lid of either the Cadak or a camping gas stove, that also acts as a windbreaker, and the sides of the unit, because the cooker is set down, then of course that's a nice little windbreaker as well. So you are quite sheltered when you are cooking. And like I said, for all the times that we've been out in the van, we've not missed an opportunity for cooking outside. So sometimes in the winter you might need to put a jacket on, of course, but you aren't then going to bed with those smells that you've just created by cooking inside the van. So for me, this is a massive positive, and we see this as the way forwards, and will not ever be cooking in the van. So we might end up making a cup of tea in the van. That's fine, because you can have a nice little stove sitting on the top of the worktop, and that's nice and easy. So if you want to brew in the morning and make a cup of coffee to get yourself up and ready, then of course you can do that. And a nice portable one is going to keep that worktop free and fit on there really nice. And then of course it just gives you extra space as well by not having that cooker a permanent feature within that worktop. So for us, cooking outside, absolutely king, and we love it, and you can see why I think this is such a great setup. Let's have a look through the van. So like I said, we've got all of this lovely space around us, and that is just a super area. How spacious does that feel? Short wheelbase van as well. You know, so this is not a big van. It will fit in a normal car park space. And you've got all of this comfort inside it, you know, where you can stretch out. Really cozy at the same time. Fantastic setup. Let's have a look at the roof. So this is the bed in the pop top. So this is a skyline roof on this Transit Custom with the scenic canvas and the memory foam mattress, which is able to be stored up the top there. And this does give a really rather nice bit of space, and it gives you another double bed within the van, and that's fantastic. So let's have a look at this pop top roof now. The roof is all put away. So coming up to the cab area, I wanted to show you what the cover panel looks like when it's closed and we've put the roof down. So this is now set up for travel. So roof is folded away, secured down, and then this lovely cover panel goes across the front section. So that then blocks out any noise. So it really helps with road noise, and also it keeps everything really neat. So if we come around to the back to the van, you'll look and see that it's one lovely seamless piece, making the whole thing really neat. And like I said, it has the added advantage of, you know, just quietening down any residual road noise that you might get. So not only does it look good, it's really practical as well. So while we're talking about the roof is a bifold bed on this one, which I think works the absolute best with the U-shape. So you've got the twin folding mechanism that gets you more height towards the rear of the van. So you've got a lot of standing height right down to the back of the van, even though the pop-top roof is elevated to the front end. You've still got really good access and headroom pretty much nearly all the way down the van. So thanks for joining me on this tour around this great Transit van. And who would have thought? Slowly persuading me into the dark side. Maybe. So it's a great space, and you can see why they're such popular vans. I think from a converter's point of view, they just make a lovely square space, and the squarer that box, if you want to call it that, the better it lends itself to a camper van. You know, the space is great. It's got a really good internal space. I like it a lot, and I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. This is our version 3 setup that predominantly we've done on transporters. So up until recently, the Transit was version 2, and these little improvements on the version 3 kit just brings it up to that next level. And I think you'll agree that the quality of it and the fit, finish and feel is really good. So I think the guys that own this van are going to really enjoy it. It's a fantastic space. It's got everything on it that you're going to need. Right? It's such a simple setup, but one that just works really well for maximizing your space, maximizing your storage, and giving you that biggest bed that you're going to get in one of these vans. Nothing can be just more critical than sleep. If you get a good night's sleep, which you're going to get on a decent bed, the rest of the day is easy. So wake up grumpy, the rest of the day is going to stay the same. So let's get a really good sleep in. And these beds are just the biggest that you're going to get in these small spaces. So I think, you know, it's a great setup. And the twin slider adds that little bit of extra functionality to it. Don't dismiss a twin slider van. We can make those look fantastic. And it just gives you that little bit of practicality. Get into the back of that cupboard, you know. So, and we'll blank everything off. Nothing's exposed. So the fridge is all nicely hidden. So it works really well, really, really well. So I'm really pleased with this setup, and the walnut's fantastic. I've got walnut in my own van and I'm a massive fan of that. I think it just looks, just oozes quality really, and it's just got that lovely luxury feel. So it makes a cozy space even more intimate. So really fantastic van. So thanks very much for joining me. I do hope you enjoyed this tour around this fantastic Transit Custom. Do give us a thumbs up if you have, and please do subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to see more from us, do hit that bell button, and of course you'll get notifications of when we bring out the new videos. So in the meantime, guys, thanks very much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.